Hello everyone, so let's get started with today's update on the special military operation in Kursk. And there's some interesting stuff to look at, as Ukraine has started to share some more videos. First, let's start off with this. So Russia shared this on Telegram, saying, on the night of 10 to 11, a sabotage and recon group entered the village of Ka-52 in Belovsky district of Kursk, consisting of two self-propelled Msta-S Howitzers, one Ural, and an infantry fighting vehicle, which they say opened fire on the locals. Our helicopter, a Ka-52, saved us, destroying one self-propelled howitzer. It turns out, first of all, one Msta-S howitzer was destroyed and another one was damaged, seen in the photos here. But secondly, and most importantly, these were Russian Msta-S howitzers, and a rather embarrassing case of friendly fire. This Telegram post was quickly deleted once it was apparent this was a friendly fire incident. Ka-52 is here, over 30 kilometers from Sudzha. This is here on Svoboda's map. Now, unless the front lines have absolutely collapsed, then there's zero chance Ukraine got 30 kilometers behind Russian lines here, unless they had Oddball and his three Shermans with them. And there's zero chance Ukraine would use a howitzer of all things as part of a sabotage group. So, clearly friendly fire. So this shows that there could be some pretty big communications breakdown amongst the Russian forces. If the troops who monitored this armoured column with a spotter drone and called the Ka-52 to hit it weren't informed that the Russian column was on its way. Could it be that Russia is so disorganised at the moment that nobody knows who and what is where, and different Russian groups are doing their own thing? Or it could be that Ukrainian jammers are impacting Russia's communications here. Let's move on. This video released by Ukraine shows a Stugna-P anti-tank missile strike on an Akhmat vehicle, Akhmat being Kadyrov's own troops. I always enjoy seeing Stugna in action. You can see in this video that it has a 16 seconds of flight time before hitting a moving vehicle, reported by the source that uploaded it as being a armoured car, which I think means a type of MRAP. The Stugna-P travels at 200 meters per second, so this target was about 3.2 kilometers away from the Stugna when it was hit, if my maths is correct. This was in the area of Plekovo, shown here on Google Maps. Switching to Svoboda's map, you can see that Plekovo is Ukrainian controlled and has been since the 9th. Now, no date was given for when this vehicle was hit by the Stugna, so this could be recent, as in yesterday, or since Ukraine is delaying the release of videos and releasing very few, I think it more likely this could be a few days old, either before the town was fully taken by Ukraine, or shortly after Ukraine hit it, and this was ambushing reinforcements heading towards the settlement. Another video here before we have a look at some of the Ukrainian losses in Gir'i, which will be a bit of a longer discussion. This clip here shows a Russian Kamaz truck by the side of a road somewhere in Kursk being drone dropped, next to a past destroyed Kamaz. No location was given for this one, other than somewhere in Kursk, but worth a quick look as it shows Ukraine is hitting Russia's supply lines. I saw a few people speculate this may be north of Koronovo, that road leading down to Koronovo from the north, but who knows for sure. Now, a rather interesting set of videos from Gir'i. This was an interesting little incident involving a Ukrainian push with BTR-4s. This first video shows Kadyrov's Akhmat group ambushing a pair of Ukrainian BTR-4s in the town, missing at point-blank range with an RPG. This ambush failed, but later on did succeed. First, let's see where this was. So the two BTR-4s were heading northeast as shown by the arrow, going past a group of the Akhmat group hidden by the side of a building here, who engaged them as they passed. This is pretty much in the centre of Gir'i. Now Gir'i is quite interesting because a Ukrainian presence hasn't been recorded here yet. So it's on the southern axis of this incursion. Ukraine has advanced east and has sent forward elements, recon patrols and sabotage teams into Gir'i itself. So a new push here confirmed. I'll look at this in a bit more detail. Now, one of the BTR-4s in the town was captured. This video is later shared showing one BTR-4 in Akhmat Group's hands. This was located to be here, being driven past the same road as before. The BTR-4 as well, possibly this captured one, was also seen driving along a road filmed by a civilian as seen here. This was here, heading northwest. You can see this is in the northern part of Gir'i, on top of that road we just looked at. So, how did Akhmat Group manage to capture a BTR-4? Well, it's in this video here, showing a Ukrainian BTR-4 being destroyed along that same road. So you can see 3 vehicles parked up a road with another vehicle approaching. The approaching one, which is a Ukrainian one, takes some incoming fire and is then halted near the tree lines. Now, this is a very tricky incident to see who is who. There's a lot of discussion online about it. So I'm going to have a look at some screenshots and see if we can piece this all together. Now, unfortunately, the destroyed vehicle is Ukrainian. We can see what looked to be Ukraine's new tactical symbol on the front, which means the 2 on the road here are likely Russian. These look to be BTR-82s to me. Now, one of them is engaging the tree line, targeting troop dismounts maybe. Here, you can see the BTR-4 takes incoming fire from one of the vehicles in the road. The shell is highlighted. What is throwing me though? The BTR-4 was reversing, and its barrel is aimed at the tree line too, which makes it confusing. So from what I can tell, this looks like what happened here. A number of BTR-4s entered Gir'i. We saw 2 of them on a past video. Russia reports that 7 were here, and there's a video showing more BTR-4s. These BTRs were ambushed initially by RPGs and small arms fire at point 1, and turned left, heading up the road towards Belitsa. Either this was their intended route, or they were looking for a quick way out of town after the initial ambush. This is where it gets a bit muddled. They followed that road where one of them at least got into an engagement with Russians and was disabled by the other vehicle, which I think is a BTR-82. Now what happened to the second one? That's a tricky one. I think the second one was ambushed and abandoned somewhere along that road elsewhere, with its troops dismounting. But then there's the issue of a time frame. Remember, one of the Russian BTR-82s was engaging targets in a tree line. I couldn't see troops getting there that fast before the other BTR-4 arrived and then got destroyed. The BTR we saw getting destroyed is a different one than the one that Akhmat was driving around, as the one which Akhmat had didn't show any signs of damage, and the one we just watched got hit multiple times. But it seems like a pretty big battle of some sorts took place along that road. Remember, the Ukrainian BTR-4 was reversing, so I think there was some sort of battle going on along that road. The BTR-4 started reversing out of it and engaging a tree line where we thought some Russians were, and it stumbled into the ambush with the BTR-82s. I have also seen a suggestion that all of these vehicles are actually Ukrainian. This is an incident of friendly fire, which may account for the fact that one of the BTRs was engaging a tree line to the east. But it is an odd one. In total, 7 BTR-4s and their M113 were reported destroyed here, so it seems like an attempt by Ukraine to take the town was repelled. But given Gir'i is here, I think it very likely that these villages to the west are Ukrainian controlled now, as Ukraine entered Gir'i in force, or, if not fully controlled by Ukraine, then at least empty enough of Russians for this push to get through. I think it is likely that's why this ambush on them worked. The Ukrainian vehicles advanced fast through the abandoned villages here, completely unopposed, and let their guard down, stumbling headlong into this ambush here, which consisted of troop dismounts armed with the RPGs as we saw, and then Russian BTR-82s. I expect in the coming days we will get more confirmation and information as to what exactly happened. Gir'i, you can see, is 23 kilometers from Sudzha. Now I'm going to look at 2 more clips shared by Russia which also show new Ukrainian pushes in the area. In this clip, a Russian airstrike, supposedly hitting Ukrainian positions, but they just seem to destroy some trees to me. We see 3 bombs impact near a forested area. Not the most impressive video of all time, no Ukrainians are visible at all. The reason I wanted to take a look at this is to see where it took place and if it tells us anything new. Assuming Ukraine actually was in the forest, which is located north of Semenovka. This is in the middle of contested area. Levchinka is marked as Ukrainian controlled. This forest has 2 markers on it, one showing a tank sighting of a Ukrainian tank, the other marking a past Russian airstrike targeting an MRAP. If I remember right, that one was an Iskander. So, given this fresh strike, I think this forest here is controlled by Ukraine. As for Semenovka, no mention of Ukraine having entered the settlement, but it is beset on all sides. And here, 3 Ukrainian MRAPs abandoned near a forest, one of which gets hit by an FPV drone. These are east of a small village called Zuravli, shown here, north of a town called Kalinov. This is here. So in a region shown in light black of a very active front line here. A number of battles and skirmishes and pushes are reported here. A lot of fighting taking place, centred around settlements east of Koronovo, in the woodlands of the land here. These areas aren't Ukrainian controlled exactly. The whole area around these villages is contested territory at the moment. There looks to be no real front line, so to speak, it's very fluid. This looks like Ukraine attempting to secure the territories east of Koronovo and try and isolate it. Koronovo is where Russia's defence in the region appears to be centred. Moving away from vehicles, a very short video here showing that Ukraine attempts to take out a bridge to cut off Russian logistics, which crosses the Seam River near Glushkovo. The bridge wasn't downed, but you can see what looks to be an impact marking and a destroyed barrier. The impact marking is what makes me think this was a strike, rather than just a vehicle crashing into the barrier. It definitely looks like something hit the bridge. I'm assuming Ukraine targeted this, but we can't rule out a Russian missile or rocket falling short. This is a bridge here, north of Glushkovo. You can see the road this bridge is on eventually leads up towards Kursk. I don't think this was Russia trying to destroy it to stop Ukraine from using it. I think if they were going to do that, they'd use set charges, as they do control this area still. This was Ukraine hitting it to cut off a possible route for Russia from Kursk to resupply the area and potentially loop around and hit Ukrainian positions from the west. If that is the case, Ukraine needs to hit this again as the bridge is still standing. Now, a different type of video. Ukraine has attached loudspeakers to drones to bring a call of surrender to Russians in Kursk. I'm going to play the video without me talking as it has subtitles and it's worth a listen.
Русский солдат, сдавайся. Твое командование скрывает правду о потерях.
And finally here, some satellite imagery for you. These were shared by Mark Krutov on Twitter, taken on August the 11th. So these show damage to the Sudzha gas metering station in Kursk. So you can see the administration building is destroyed. This happened on August the 11th. The metering unit, which is damaged, happened between the 9th and 10th. Gas is still flowing through Sudzha, but Mark Krutov mentions that Gazprom has asked Ukraine to allow pumping through another station, which was rejected by Ukraine. In 2023, 14.65 billion cubic meters of gas were pumped through here, nearly half of all Russian gas exports to Europe. It isn't known how it was damaged. Looks like it may have got hit by artillery to me. So, now let's check out the situation maps by Svoboda. So, the northern area around Koronovo, we saw this earlier, but a quick recap. A number of battles and skirmishes reported as taking place. The front lines are very fluid, and it isn't known the actual territorial control. But a lot of Ukrainian probes and pushes and small-scale skirmishes taking place in the district, as well as potential Russian counterattacks. Russia's main defence in Ukraine's main target here appears to be Koronovo itself. Ukraine looking to gain ground directly east of it to try and isolate the settlement. Koronovo is supplied from the north by one main road. If Ukraine can put pressure on that road, such as mining it with Ram's mines, then the settlement is in trouble. No real territorial changes here, but a lot of new skirmishes and battles and similar incidents. The middle area, centred around Sudzha, firmly under Ukrainian control, with skirmishes and Ukrainian probes reported, shown in black, along that road heading northeast. And now, the most interesting one. The large Ukrainian presence seen in Gir'i, indicating that these villages west of Gir'i are abandoned by Russia, if not captured by Ukraine. Ukraine was defeated in Gir'i, but if indeed these settlements are in Ukrainian hands now, then I expect we'll see a renewed push on the town soon. I've linked to this map in the description and it's worth checking out. Now, before I finish, I'm going to play a video from Sanath about his ongoing fundraiser. The link is in the description. Thanks so much for watching and take care everybody.
Hello Sudzha community, my name is Sanath. I'm a volunteer that's been helping the Ukrainian military for the past 2.5 years. I live in Ukraine and have been here for about 10 years. At the start of the war, my good friend Gir'i, who was my gym instructor, went to join the military and I stayed on to help support these guys. We've done lots of work along the way, so thank you for everyone who supported us. We currently have a fundraiser ongoing for an armoured vehicle. cyclist, for an armoured vehicle. It's going really well. We've raised nearly £10,000. We have got £15,000 to go. The vehicle has already been purchased and is now at the garage. It's having a BMW engine installed, and then it will be taken to Ukraine to have the ceramic and Kevlar armaments installed. So with your continued support, we'll be able to bring this project to a successful conclusion. Thank you very much.